Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, I want to have a look at Polkadot. Now, Polkadot, sadly, is one of these altcoins that we cover every now and then, and it doesn't have that sort of Bitcoin cycle. It doesn't have that 4 years of data that we can sort of pull from, so that we can sort of see, compare today's price to where it was previous cycle. We don't quite have that. We can see, Polkadot here launched or went public anyway in August 2020. And we're not in 2024 yet, so we can't have 4 years. We're about 6, 7, 8 months away. So we've sort of got, again, 6, 7, 8 months of uncharted territory here where we kind of have to figure out ourselves what's the most likely, outcome or what can happen during this short to medium time frame. And with other altcoins like this, I always say it's not dependent on the altcoin, what happens next. It's dependent on the crypto space. And that ultimately translates to it's dependent on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin leads the crypto space during these sort of time periods, especially during and after bear markets and before the halving and a little while after the halving. So it kind of depends what Bitcoin wants to do. And if Bitcoin wants to keep climbing, then I'm sure Polkadot will follow. If Bitcoin has put in its high now, its yearly high, and it wants to sort of retrace a bit, which we do often see, Bitcoin does usually not do well in its last couple of months. Now, I'm sure November will be a good month for Bitcoin. It's done very well, but maybe we could see a red December, who knows, a red December, red January, red early January, who knows. Whatever Bitcoin decides to do, most likely Polkadot will follow, but to a more volatile degree, percentage-wise. So yeah, getting straight into it, we can see I haven't drawn much here. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. I think sometimes with my videos I draw too many lines and it's kind of difficult to keep track of what's going on. So just very basic today. I've got these two sort of support and resistance lines here, and then I've also got another two here, and these are basically just downward moves. These are the two downward moves that we've seen during this bear cycle long term. And we can see that each time, after X amount of time, X and Y amount of time, it's been different for the two. Obviously, this one's been much longer. We went down basically for all of 2022, all the way up to 2023, a year of just downward movement. We broke out with the FTX, and then we just went straight down. And then we've broken out again now. But I do want to point out that the only piece of data that we can glean from here, and again, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to try and make anything up or post too many hypotheticals. I'm just going to pull from sort of previous data and then propose hypotheticals. So sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I will be making hypotheticals, of course, but I'll only be making hypotheticals on past price performance. I won't be focusing too much on, token economics and all this stuff, because currently there's just no liquidity to put into these cryptos. So I'm just going off past performance basically. We can see we've had these two downward moves and we've had a breakout once before, and once we had that breakout it resulted in DOT going higher, but it ultimately trended lower. But it was obviously the downward move was to a lesser degree and for a shorter period of time. So if we were to see something like this play out again, maybe we have three of these moves. We have this one, and one more. Maybe we see a move that looks something like this. I'm sorry for the change of color. I'll change that now. Something like this, and maybe we see like DOT come down and put in another low. Maybe it just comes close to the previous low. I don't think coming back to these lows is unheard of. And if you watched a few videos back, if you've been watching recently, you'll know that I've been kind of speculating that this pullback will be something that could potentially happen, and we could basically see a retracement of all this price gain, but very suddenly, like over the space of a month, similar to how quickly we've had this. Basically the reverse. Now, there is also a chance for a sort of double top over the next few days, but I ultimately think whether there's a double top or not, we will have a pullback. And go check out my last videos if you want to know why I think that. But TLDR is that basically we've seen this exact move previous cycles. We've seen it in Bitcoin. We've seen it in like the major altcoins that have been around for a while, Ethereum, Cardano. We've seen it in all of them. And to be honest with you, I can't see why this cycle is much different. Maybe we pump a little higher than previous cycles. Maybe we pump a little lower than previous cycles. Right now, we've sort of lined up roughly to where we were during this pump on these altcoins, and not much so BTC, but we've kind of lined up with percentages on how far up we've gone. And now that we've sort of become hesitant here, like this shows that Obviously market was super bullish, lots of people very bullish, and then suddenly people were getting to this price and going, I can sell for a profit here, I'm going to sell. So it's not that the bullish sentiment went away, it's that the people wanting to make quick money sort of balanced out the bullishness. And we can see here Polkadot's been struggling to sort of keep up this price level, and it's sort of found support at maybe this sort of $5.20 level, but we've wicked down below it a few times. And if you want to do really sort of dicey short-term analysis, we can see that we've made a little descending wedge here, if you like. And if we break down below this support, God knows where we could break down to. I'd say our next support would probably be somewhere around here at this $4.70 level, 70 cents. So we'll probably see if she does push down below here, we'll come down to this. We might see a double top again and then break down below this. Again, our next support after here would probably be this guy at about $4.35. So, you know, if over the next few months we do sort of drop down below these levels, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's very possible, to be honest with you. And again, it's a shame that we have to sort of glean this information from the general altcoin and crypto space instead of past performance, because I do think past performance is much more useful compared to general crypto space, because altcoins will perform differently to other altcoins during the same period of time. Like Avalanche and Cardano, they have different price action history. Now the tops kind of line up with the tops and the bottoms often line up with the bottoms, and there's a few key movements that we see that takes place over all the crypto space, but they do have different, you know, percentage moves up and percentage moves down, and how long something plays out for. It's not a copy and paste between every altcoin. They play out differently. But that's kind of it for Polkadot on its USD pair. Getting into the Bitcoin pair, we can see that it's kind of been a general downward trend. But before I get into it, I first want to thank today's sponsor, FairDesk. Now, FairDesk is an exchange, and if you're interested, you can click the link in the description for a 5% deposit bonus, and with no KYC, you can start trading straight away, so there's definitely no reason not to. But getting into Polkadot and its Bitcoin, we can see that, yeah, sort of very strong downward movement ever since October of 2021, November of 21, whichever you want. You could also say that we started putting in lower highs since sort of June, May time of 2021, but yeah, kind of not too important which peak you choose. You can see I've sort of drawn two sets of supports and resistance here. This blue is just sort of the range set, so we sort of set a range here at the start and we come and test it only a few times, and the same here, we only test it a couple of times, and then this white line is sort of where it's oscillated the most while going down this range. Just a very sort of not too in-depth, but it does the job that I want it to do, which is just illustrate that it hasn't moved down too volatile. Sorry, it hasn't fluctuated in much of a volatile way. It's just steadily trended down on its Bitcoin pair. And maybe we could see potentially here, like if it breaks out above the white line, we could see some form of bullish play where it even pushes above the blue. It's a potential. Again, this is sort of around the time where altcoins start to pick up a bit on their Bitcoin pair. Although I would say dominance is still due to go up. The Bitcoin dominance is still due to go up. There's always some altcoins that break up early. There's always some altcoins that break up late. Again, sort of these orange lines here, just to point out sort of kind of key ranges. This is where DOT was before the bull run took off. So we can see that maybe by the end of 2024, we'll be back up to these 2,000 Satoshi levels. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I think personally the Polkadot Bitcoin pair is headed. I do think it will be below here for basically the next 6, 7, 8 months. I you know, it's hard to put a time frame on it, but for the next while. I can't really see it breaking above this before, well, maybe I can. I don't know. I won't say before. We will probably be below this line by March of 2024. And how long we stay down below it after that, I don't know. But like we can see here that obviously at launch, whatever happened, the price collapsed on its Bitcoin pair, but we very quickly sort of set our low of 2,500-ish Satoshis to get back up to that by August of 2024. You know, kind of, again, 8 months away. is definitely doable, and I feel like it's realistic. It just depends how much lower it goes on its Bitcoin pair. It will be interesting to see. And then sort of this bull run peak phase, I would say, is above this red line, above the 5,000 Satoshi level, and below sort of the 8,000 Satoshi level. That's sort of historically a good time to sell your DOT. If you want to look at basically from January 2021 to June of 2021, we can see that January 2021, DOT kind of exploded very quickly and grew very rapidly off its Bitcoin pair and its USD pair, extremely rapidly off its USD pair, and then it would have told you to sell by June, so it would have basically given you above the sort of $15 line, which still isn't like the best place to sell. But if you're buying it for, you know, $4, I don't know, that'll be a 4x, which isn't great for an altcoin, but considering it wasn't a bull run year technically, it was a bull run year, so yeah, not great really. It's kind of if you mistimed that really poorly. But of course you could have made serious money if, you know, you're buying for $4 and selling for $44. It's about 11x. That's kind of normal. That's what we usually generally expect to see in the altcoin space, sort of for the higher up alts anyway, somewhere around a 10 to 15x move in like the top 15 altcoins. And then the lower down you go, excluding cryptos like Litecoin and XRP, you know, you see higher gains because you're going further down the risk curve. So yeah, again, sort of this sort of range is where I see a bull run taking place. It also said August 21st to January 2022. If we go to August, again, sort of catching this pump on the way up, this sort of point here, and then to January, again, a similar frame. So it, on its BTC pair, sort of above this $20 range, this $18 range is where it was saying to sell, basically, or maybe DCA out of the market over a period of time. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this video, guys. If you liked it, please leave a like, consider subscribing, do all the YouTube things. Comment down below if you're holding DOT or getting ready to sell. I personally think, again, just a quick recap, I think we will sort of return down. Now, wherever we decide to bounce, I don't know. Could see a bounce here and a double top and then another return. Again, I don't know. I probably see us coming down somewhere here-ish. Or maybe even down to sort of this low. I'll draw one more line so you guys can sort of decide for yourself, see all the options. I can see us probably coming down to here. Or, well, I would say we will definitely come down to here at some point within the next month and a half. But that is just my opinion. I can be wrong, and I oftentimes am wrong. So, you know, do your own research, make your own opinions off, you know, the information that you have. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like and a subscribe. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care and peace.